Hey guys, Justin here. I hated having 3000 iRating in iRacing, and it might be for a different reason than you think at first. So in this video, I'll be going over some of the pitfalls of the skill-based matchmaking that iRacing has, along with going over some of the mistakes I made when I had between 3000 and 4000 iRating. But first, a little background and context. I started iRacing in about 2014 after 2 or so years of running NR 2003 against AI. I basically only did Rookie Street Stocks and Pickup Cup for 4 years between two accounts because I couldn't really buy any content at the time. So during that, I really was able to hone in some decent skills between those two series without ever having to touch an official NASCAR race. And during this time, I racked up 40 wins on one account and another 40 on another, and got both of those accounts up to about 2500 iRating or so before making the jump on my Justin Yee 2 account and going all in and starting to buy all the NASCAR content to continue my journey. Throughout 2018, I steadily improved my iRating until I got to about 3,200 in iRating, and this is what began the least fun time period I've ever had in iRacing. If we look at my iRating graph and stats, we can see I had 46 oval starts in 2019, and a grand total of 1 win, which came from me wrecking the field at Daytona sometime in the middle of the year. But another thing that we can see is a very long straight line between the middle of 2019 to the end of it, which is basically me quitting the game for half a year. The stats leave a very big clue on why I quit the game for that period of time, and it really took a lot for me to come back, because I was used to winning. I won a lot in rookies, I won a lot in Pickup Cup, I was so used to it, and then I got to this point where winning seemed not only impossible, but just unthinkable. But why did winning become so hard at this point? Well, let's talk about skill-based matchmaking a bit. As most of you already know, iRacing is an ELO-based system that uses iRating to determine what cars race against each other per the given hour. What makes iRacing very different from a lot of other games that use skill-based matchmaking though, is that there's a lot smaller pool of people that race iRacing at a given time. Because of this, there are many scenarios where you can be average or slightly above average at iRacing according to the rating system, and be placed in the same race as somebody who's in the top 1% of all drivers on the service. Sometimes for popular cars and time slots though, there will be a second split that has a lot of above average drivers, but won't have any of the top 1% people that will usually get the win in those other fields. Here lies the issue with being 3000 to 4000 iRating, is that you'll almost never be in those second splits except maybe at super speedways or super popular tracks at super popular time slots. So while I was a very extreme case of staying so long in rookie series and getting a lot of wins just to make the jump into the higher echelons, everybody who reaches 3000 to 4000 iRating knows that feeling of going from being able to contend for wins and top 5s to just feeling helpless in a lot of the top split races. Let's compare this to another game with skill-based matchmaking, Apex Legends. Now there's still going to be a lot of people in that lobby, but let's say if you're in the top 60 to 70% of players, you'll find lobbies that are more akin to your skill level and not include those people that are at the top level, the top 0.1%, the top 1% of players. So every time you enter a lobby, or at least a lot of the time, you'll be able to get that feeling that you can win the game, and you probably will win the game if you play enough. And honestly, it's one of the huge reasons why we see so many people do races like Daytona and Talladega. It's because more people are willing to do the race if they feel like they have a shot to win it. A lot of people get discouraged, or at least lose motivation to race, when they just don't feel like they have an opportunity at winning. So what, is my message about this just to quit the game if you get 3000 iRating, call it a day, pack it up, go find something else to do? Actually, I'm pretty much saying the exact opposite. Back then in 2019, what held me back from being able to hit the next level was more of my own issues with expecting to win, ego, whatever you have it. What I needed to do was to keep racing and keep learning and not to hold myself back. One of the things that I preach a lot about on this channel is to set goals not based off of numbers, but based off improvement. Because if you look for improvement in everything you do, the numbers will just naturally follow it. So when 2020 rolled around, I dusted off the wheel. I wanted to give it another try. I wanted to take more of that approach that I was talking about with this attempt in iRacing, and I ran 177 races in 2020. I raised my I rating by about 2,000, and look, I still only got 7 wins out of 177 starts. Winning in top split is hard. It's not easy. It's one of the hardest things that you could ever do in a video game, in my opinion. Because if you look at my win percentage, you might think I'm pretty good at iRacing. If I tell you how often do you win, you may say, oh, you probably win half the races you do if you're 6,500. No, I'm winning barely over a quarter of my races at a I rating that a lot of people think is very, very elite. But there is always something more to gain in iRacing. There is always people that will be beating you if you're not performing at a near optimal level at this game. And that's what's so beautiful about iRacing is it's completely individual and it's completely filled with improvement chances no matter where you are or what you do. Because if I become an amazing driver that's winning most of my races, there's still more room for improvement because there's people that are better than me that aren't even running these races. There's a different hurdle to jump over and they just get bigger and bigger and bigger, and it seems daunting, but honestly it's just part of the journey and it's part of what makes this game so fun. So I guess the moral of this video is to let you guys know, don't take winning and competing for wins for granted. Because if you're hovering around the mid splits, the low splits, and you're competing for wins, but you're really gung-ho about one day getting to a high I rating and competing in top split, just know that there may be some more challenges waiting for you up top with the purgatory that is being a 3,000 or 4,000 I rating. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate if you left a like on it because it's the #1 way to help me out, and then subscribe if you want to see more content like this. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I hope to see you all on the track.